John Crowley, author. John Crowley, born December 1, 1942, is an American author of fantasy, science fiction, and historical fiction. He has also written essays. Crowley studied at Indiana University and has a second career as a documentary film writer. Crowley is best known as the author of Little, Big 1981, a work which received World Fantasy Award for Best Novel and has been called a neglected masterpiece by Harold Bloom, and his Egypt series of novels which revolve around the same themes of Hermeticism, memory, families, and religion. Some of his nonfiction writing has appeared bi-monthly in Harper's Magazine in the form of his Easy Chair column, which ended in 2016. Biography. John Crowley was born in Presque Isle, Maine in 1942. His father was then an officer in the U.S. Army Air Corps. He grew up in Vermont, northeastern Kentucky, and for the longest stretch Indiana, where he went to high school and college. He moved to New York City after college to make movies, and did find work in documentary films, an occupation he still pursues. He published his first novel, The Deep, in 1975, and his 12th Ka, Dar Oakley, in the Ruin of Immer in 2017. Since 1993, he has taught creative writing at Yale University. In 1992, he received the Award in Literature from the American Academy and Institute of Arts and Letters. His first published novels were science fiction, The Deep 1975 and Beasts 1976. Engine Summer 1979 was nominated for the 1980 American Book Award in a one-year category science fiction. It appears in David Pringle's Science Fiction, The 100 Best Novels. In 1981 came Little, Big, covered in Pringle's sequel Modern Fantasy, The 100 Best Novels. In 1987, Crowley embarked on an ambitious four-volume novel, Ægypt, comprising the solitudes originally published as Ægypt, Love and Sleep, Demonomania, and Endless Things, published in May 2007. This series and Little, Big were cited when Crowley received the prestigious American Academy of Arts and Letters Award for Literature. He is also the recipient of an Ingram Merrill Foundation grant. James Merrill, the organization's founder, greatly loved Little, Big, and was blurbed praising Crowley on the first edition of Love and Sleep. His recent novels are The Translator, recipient of the Premio Flaiano, Italy, Lord Byron's novel, The Evening Land, which contains an entire imaginary novel by the poet, and the aforementioned Four Freedoms about workers at an Oklahoma defense plant during World War II. A novella, The Girlhood of Shakespeare's Heroines, appeared in 2002. A museum-quality 25th anniversary edition of Little, Big, featuring the art of Peter Milton and a critical introduction by Harold Bloom, is in preparation. Crowley's short fiction is collected in 3 volumes: Novelty, containing the World Fantasy Award-winning novel A Great Work of Time, Antiquities, and Novelties and Souvenirs, an omnibus volume containing nearly all his short fiction through its publication in 2004. A collection of essays and reviews entitled In Other Words was published in early 2007. Most of the ideas he has for books occur about 10 years before he actually starts working on the books. In 1989, Crowley and his wife Lori Block founded Straight Ahead Pictures to produce media, film, video, radio, and internet on American history and culture. Crowley has written scripts for short films and documentaries, many historical documentaries for public television. His work has received numerous awards and has been shown at the New York Film Festival, the Berlin Film Festival, and many others. His scripts include The World of Tomorrow on the 1939 World's Fair, No Place to Hide on the Bomb Shelter Obsession, The Hindenburg for HBO, and Fit, episodes in the history of the body, American fitness practices and beliefs over the decades, with Lori Block. Crowley's correspondence with literary critic Harold Bloom and their mutual appreciation. Bloom claimed on Contentful, "Come that Little, Big ranks among the 5 best novels by a living writer," and included Little, Big, Egypt, the Solitudes, and Love and Sleep in his canon of literature in the appendix to the Western Canon, 1994. In his preface to Snake's Hands, Bloom identifies Crowley as his favorite contemporary writer, and the Egypt series as his favorite romance. After Little, Big. Crowley has also taught at the Clarion West Writers' Workshop held annually in Seattle, Washington. Awards. 1982. Little Big received the World Fantasy Award for Best Novel and the Mythopoeic Fantasy Award. Awarded. The 1990 Great Work of Time received the World Fantasy Award for Best Novella. 1992 American Academy and Institute of Arts and Letters Award in Literature. 1997 Gone received the Locus Award for Best Short Story. Story. 1999 La Grande Œuvre du Temps, the French-language edition of Great Work of Time translated by Monique Le Bailey, won the Grand Prix de l'Imaginaire Nouvelle Étranger Grand Prize for Translated Story. 2003 the translator received the Italian Premio Flaiano. 2006 World Fantasy Award for Life Achievement. 2007 Bulgakov Award of Portal SF Assembly Kyiv, Ukraine. Ukraine. 2018 Spring Break received the Edgar Award. 2018 Ka Dar Oakley in the Ruin of Immer received the Mythopoeic Fantasy Award. 2021 Kra Dar Duchesny dans les Ruines de Elmer, the French-language edition of Ka Dar Oakley in the Ruin of Immer received the Grand Prix de l'Imaginaire for foreign novel